Could you make an argument that this could be a temporary banning rather than permanent?
No, I want it to be a permanent because you know what? They did this because I'm revealing all the evidence on Friday of all the election fraud with these machines. So I'm sorry if you think it's not
Mike,
real.
can I ask our producers, can we get out of here, please? I don't want to have to keep going over this.
Actually,
we at Newsmax have not been able to verify any of those allegations that you're
Mike, hold on a second. Everybody hold on a second. Mike, hold on 1 second. Let's talk a little bit.
Hey everybody, Alex Kapitko here, and let's just get the laughter out for a minute because that video is ridiculous. Like, there's no denying that. But just to clarify, Newsmax is not just all of a sudden becoming a trustworthy source. They're not just changing their tone. Basically, I think they're just feeling the pressure of a very expensive lawsuit. And today, that's what I want to talk about. Lawsuits, information, and maybe how we can start to limit misinformation. Thanks. So let's just get into this. So the main reason why Mike Lindell was kind of silenced on Newsmax and why you saw one of the anchors literally walk off is because of the Dominion lawsuit. So Forbes reports that Dominion filed lawsuits against former Trump campaign attorneys Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell. They're both nuts, kind of entertaining, but nuts. And the company indicated that it might also sue Newsmax, Fox News, Mike Lindell, and a range of other right-wing figures. And that was that $1.3 billion lawsuit. Basically kind of trying to make up for what they might have lost in funding, money, and just legitimacy with all this misinformation. And so what Newsmax did there was basically cover their asses because they obviously don't want to lose even more money or have any more issues with Dominion. You know, I don't like the kind of litigious nature of our country, but this does make me think that while lawsuits, may not solve everything, this may actually be one of the last lines of defense for holding news companies like Newsmax or OANN or Fox News or, hey, CNN or MSNBC all accountable. And obviously Mike Lindell can go anywhere and try to say what he wants to say. But if a company like Newsmax feels the pressure, they won't be comfortable with giving him a platform to say it. And maybe it's superficial because it is holding something over these companies in terms of a lawsuit, but it works. And to be honest, peddling misinformation about the election was the likely cause of violence at the Capitol. So even if it means holding a lawsuit out in front of these companies, maybe it'll stop some of the craziness. And I'm not calling for censorship or silencing of everybody. But when something's been fact-checked, proven, and could sow violence, then, I think it might be the right thing to do. So this Dominion story is weeks old now, so that's nothing really new, but I just wanted to paint the picture. But there's a new lawsuit, and I'm just going to read you this NPR headline to kind of break it down for you. So NPR says that election technology company Smartmatic filed a massive lawsuit Thursday against Fox News. They said that the network basically perpetuated false claims and turned this company into a villain. And the suit names Fox News stars Lou Dobbs, Bartiromo, Jeanine Pirro, all the dream team, basically, as well as Trump's allies, Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell. And so this is big news. And I do remember when Lou Dobbs blamed Smartmatic for being involved in some cybersecurity version of Pearl Harbor, and how Sidney Powell claimed that this was only the beginning, and these companies are basically run by Hugo Chavez sympathizers inside of Venezuela and the U.S., So not a good look for your company. If you're Smartmatic, you're probably not feeling too good about that, right? So yeah, fun stuff there. I actually listened to the gentleman who created Smartmatic software. He's a Venezuelan named Antonio Mujica. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And basically, he sounds like a pretty intelligent immigrant who decided to get involved in election software in Florida in 2000, after, the Bush-Gore kind of debacle there. And it sounds like his company has good intentions. They actually aren't totally just involved in elections. And basically Mujica argues that Fox News platformed people and conspiracies that directly impacted the credibility and future earnings of the company. And so apparently they ran the numbers, they brought in a legal team, and they found that they could lose close to $2.7 billion due to the misinformation that was peddled by Fox, which is a lot of money, let's be honest. So that it's not just that they're peddling misinformation to their viewers, but they're actually hurting this company. And I think that's something important to remember, is that there's so many facets to this problem. And Mujica says that Smartmatic software was only, and I repeat, only used in LA County during the November election. So it wasn't in Georgia or Pennsylvania. It wasn't in these small districts where there was, contested votes. No. He also wasn't some Hugo Chavez hack. I did read from The Guardian that his original contracts when he was still in Venezuela, in Caracas, were from the Venezuelan government, obviously, because it's the government that runs the country that he lived in. But I didn't see anything else that talks about true links or, being in cahoots with the regime. It sounds like he was just a smart immigrant, came here and realized his dream. And a report in the New York Times says millions and millions of people believe the negative and false coverage about his company. And according to the court filing, employees received hate mail and death threats, requiring it to invest heavily in additional security. Not great news for your company, let's be honest. But I mean, to me it makes sense why this company would be mad and why they are pressing this lawsuit forward. Fox News allowed people to come on, and it gave them a credible platform to do it, and it harmed their reputation, lost them a lot of money, and put their employees at risk. So I could understand why they'd be mad. Now, the interesting part here is that while I understand why Dominion and Smartmatic Systems feel like the lawsuit is necessary for business, I also think that it could help with at least holding these companies somewhat accountable, right? Because before these lawsuits were coming out, OANN and Fox News and Newsmax, they were just pretty much saying anything about the election. They were letting Rudy say anything. Lou Dobbs was bringing on, Powell, and just letting them basically say anything. And so I think this is a step in at least maybe fact-checking that or limiting what these people can say. And if the Mike Lindell interviews anything, that's probably a good step. Now, it gets even more interesting because the man that is representing Smartmatic in the lawsuit is J. Eric Connolly. And he's basically the guy, it probably was close to a decade ago now. He shined light on pink slime. It's that kind of ground up beef that's mixed with a myriad of chemicals that is put in most ground beef. And I believe he won the largest settlement in American history about defamation and the media. I think it was like close to $200 million, according to what I'm seeing here on ABC. But he was kind of the guy who put a label on pink slime and how these companies are lying to you about meat. And so it was about accountability and bringing light to it. And so he took the top off the industry and really did bring accountability. And I think he's hopefully going to be doing the same here with these groups like Fox News, OANN, Newsmax, right? And if this case can be won, I think it will be interesting because at least it may force some of these companies to be more accountable. I remember in late December, due to legal pressure on Fox News, Lou Dobbs actually backtracked. They were talking about Dominion voting, if I remember correctly, and he said, well, right now we don't have any evidence of voter fraud and links to Dominion voting. So these guys are backtracking a little bit. It's not like in October and November and early December when it was just anything goes. And now Michael Lindell's another great example. He went on Newsmax last week because they wanted to talk about cancel culture. And he just went on this crazy, kind of delusional, kind of funny, kind of scary rant where they're just talking over each other and he's bringing up the voting systems in Venezuela. And the Newsmax people had to walk off. And, I don't know if this is going to do service to the viewers of Newsmax because I think it's too late. If you've been peddling the same information for months and now all of a sudden you're limiting that, probably too late. But I think it's a good start. And I usually don't support deplatforming. And I don't, especially on a small platform. But Fox News has just allowed this to be broadcasted to millions of people. And I think lawsuits really do seem to be the last bulwark here between misinformation and these big giants. I don't think there's really a way to stop Alex Jones or, specific individuals. But hey, if Mike Lindell or Rudy, who I will miss, by the way, can't come on to validate these claims in front of a national audience, then I think that's a good start. And so we'll see. And I understand the slippery slope argument here, but this won't stop journalism. It's not like they're just going to sue any journalists who say something controversial, but they're going to stop bad information and bad journalism coming from companies that should know better. So thank you guys, and take care, and we'll be back next week. Have a great weekend.